Good morning and welcome back to Brewing Happiness. After our hiatus of 2 weeks, we are back live in action. Can't wait to tell you the story of the vacation that never ended, or we thought was never going to end. So who doesn't love vacation, right? If you follow me, you know that on the happiness meter, on the big scale of things that make us happy in life, vacation scores very high. It scores. Good morning, Debbie. So happy to be back and in the saddle and sharing a cup of coffee this morning on Brewing Happiness. So like I said, who doesn't love vacation, right? Scores high on the happiness meter. It scores high because we get happiness from vacation, anticipating it, planning it, then having it, and then remembering it. So it's a threefer. So 12 days we had scheduled in a remote location at the top of the Sierra Nevada mountains in a little resort called Mono Hot Springs, where they have basically nothing. It is little log cabins. We had luxury accommodations because we had a heater and a kitchenette and an indoor fireplace. So it was a cabin. I won't say we were roughing it. We had a very beautiful little cabin, but there are no amenities there. They have one little cafe, the Red River Cafe, open from 6 to 8 each evening, and a general store where you can get your necessities that you forgot, but that's about it. Other than that, it's streams and the sky and the wind and the animals and the rocks and the just out there in nature. And of course, it is a hot spring resort, so there are multiple natural hot springs all over the mountain that you can hike to and enjoy. So 12 days of no TV. Did not have a TV in the room and did not have internet connection strong enough to pull it up on a phone. Oh, by the way, and no place to plug anything in the cabin. So when your phone does go down, if you did happen to get you could get a Wi-Fi connection at the general store. And I got a little roaming in my tent, in my cabin because we were up high, but it wasn't a great connection. It was really just enough to let a text through, not a picture. It couldn't do any kind of transactions, forget downloading a video or something. So we were unplugged. No TV. That's one thing. I live in a house with older people who don't go out much and who watch a lot of television. And so at our house, there's always 1, 2, maybe 3 TVs going at the same time all over the house. It's just ambient noise, right? You learn to just live with it. But boom, all of a sudden, silence. No TV. No traffic. We live on a hill. There's a little bit of street traffic below us every day. Again, ambient noise. Again, silence. No background noise whatsoever. All you could hear was the wind and the birds and the running water and occasionally some people talking because we weren't the only ones there enjoying the beautiful scenery, right? Now, let's be honest. I have been camping, but I am not a camper. I have been hiking, not a hiker. I have been fishing, not a fisher. So this was, while some people might say we had luxury accommodations, because like I said, we did have a warm cabin with a propane heater and a fireplace and a stove and a kitchen. While some people might say that's not roughing it, right? And it wasn't roughing it. It was out of my element for me. It was different and quiet and vacation. And honestly, I don't know in my whole life that I've ever had 2 full weeks of vacation from my life. It's daunting almost to step away from your daily routine, from the people and the things you do and see and talk to every day, and do something different. Even when it's easy, it's a little strange, right? It's a little not you want to say uncomfortable. You're having a great time, but it's just not familiar, right? Everything isn't familiar, so everything is an adventure. Where did we put the coffee? Where will the dogs go for a walk? It was just an adventure every day. So this left me with time. I'm going to call it time to be bored. Time to do nothing. Time to just sit and watch the stream go by, listen to the birds, feel the wind ripple through your hair, look at the sky. Can't believe it's so blue up here in the mountains. And that is enough. There's just not that often at home when you're surrounded by your daily life. We're just sitting and thinking and enjoying and being is enough. And maybe we ought to take more time to do just that, because it's very calming. It's very peaceful. It's very helpful. I don't know about you. There's a lot going on in here. The constant chatter in my head is sometimes exhausting. And to go into nature and sit and listen and be, I don't think I found anything that calms that chatter quite like it has been calmed in the last 2 weeks. And so I come home finding myself refreshed and happy and excited to be back, looking forward to doing my show this morning, looking forward to being back on the air and talking to my friends, forward to seeing my family, seeing my home. It was delightful to sleep in my own bed last night. So this is it. We lived for these 2 weeks in, I'll call, a minimalist dream, right? We had this tiny little cabin with just the things that we brought for our 2 weeks. And by the way, we brought way too much, but still. What happens when you don't have everything you need around you all the time? You improvise. You do without. You make a different plan. It's just such a not big deal. And I think we came home to look at the glut of possessions in my life, to the enormous amount of things sitting around that I don't use, that I don't need, that I just have. We just have a lot of things, and duplicates of things, and things we might maybe want to use someday. Good morning, Betsy. Coming home to a house full after having 2 weeks living in a tiny cabin, like I said, minimalist, just no TV, deck of cards between us, right? We played a lot of cards. And then coming home to see the enormous amount of things in my life was overwhelming to come home and look at having my closet. Took 2 weeks to close with me. My closet in drawers doesn't even look like anything was missing. Doesn't even look like anything came out, right? Too much stuff. So that's one of my takeaways from this vacation is I have too much stuff. And that'll be one of my next projects, is the Great Purge. I've been talking about it for a while, but oh boy, am I motivated now. There is nothing like living simply for a couple of weeks to make you come home and go, I don't need this crap. It's got to go. And that's what I'll be working on, to minimalize my life, because it was delightful. I don't know how to say this. It was delightful to open a drawer and there were 4 forks there. 4 forks. If it was dirty, you washed it. If you needed an extra fork, you just washed it. Or you used a spoon instead. Again, you do what you got to do. You don't do it, you make another plan. So simple. Such a simple life. That's my goal and my dream moving forward. So I'm inspired by simplicity from this trip. Not that there weren't things going on, because we're going to talk about them. Okay. So, and the other thing is makeup. I put makeup on this morning for the camera, because the camera does show us at our most basic element. And I put on a little makeup this morning for the camera. But honestly, I haven't had makeup on in 2 weeks. The only makeup I took with me was a little lipstick, because, as you know, the refuge of movie stars in any situation where you need to look good but don't want to wear makeup, simple. This is the secret. Lipstick and sunglasses. Every woman is beautiful when you put on lipstick and sunglasses. So that's what we did. Lipstick and sunglasses was my go-to outfit for the week. And you know what? It was fine. It was great. It was everything I needed. Why do I wear makeup? I'm still struggling with this now. I struggled with it to put it on this morning, but again, the camera kind of shows all your wrinkles, all your marks. then fish. Oh, I'm going to show some pictures. Let's do the pic. Let's start with pictures before we get too far here. Hold on. I got to do some connoitering here to figure out my pictures. Because what I thought was going to work didn't, and I had to make a new plan at 6:30 this morning. Okay, here we go. All right, now I'm going to share my screen. Let's see how this works. Okay, that's not that big. Let's see if we can make this into a slideshow. Download, can you see a bigger picture? Maybe not. So let's take myself out of it. Okay. I'm hoping you can see this. This is my little artwork that I made. This was my representation because I love to make art out of natural products. And I work with driftwood a lot. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm compelled to glue things together, but that is my expression. That is my favorite way to express myself in art, is to glue things together. And now I've learned to use a pin nailer, or what's called a brad nailer. You just point it and point the gun, and goodness gracious, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So look here. This is my art. These pictures are in no particular order because I downloaded them haphazardly. So we may skip around a little bit. All right. Anyway, fishing. I learned to fish. I have been fishing several times in my life, and I caught 20-something fish while I was gone this week. 20 fish. Are you kidding me? Let's go back to me. I'll go back to me. Okay, here we go. Anyway, caught 20 fish this past couple weeks. I really enjoy fishing. It is, I thought, my whole life, I thought, what's the point? You toss the line in, pull the fish out, no big deal. But there's more to it than that, just like anything. And when you get involved in the nuances, it's really fun. And we were in a place where the fish were biting, and it's a lot more fun to fish when you're actually getting fish to bite on your line. And so we had the delightful experience of good fishing everywhere we went. The first day we got there, Richard went down to the river, just a little walk away from our cabin, and pulled out 7 fish. Let's see if we can find a picture now. Oh, well, I have so many pictures here. I don't know how to even show them all. Oh, is it the first one? All right. Let's see if I can find a picture of fish. Like I said, there. Well, we're not doing it that way because it's too hard to find the pictures in the way I've done it. Anyway, I learned to fish, love the fish, and I lost my pictures. Oh, isn't this fun? Okay, let me find fish. They were down here at the beginning. We didn't share the fish. Anyway, I love fish. So fun. But I'm a little bit of a quandary because I love fish. I have 2 aquariums. I'm getting ready to set up. I'm in the process of setting up my 3rd aquarium. I adore my fish. I talk to them every day. You might think fish are just low level creatures with no feelings, and so what if they get hurt a little bit? But I can't feel that way because, like I said, I have fish. I watch them daily. I see their personalities, and I know they have feelings. A couple years ago, we had a betta fish. The real pretty bettas, and his name was Bobby Ray, and he was beautiful, purple and pink, and swam around with his tail and his fin out all the time. Well, Bobby Ray had a little friend. He was a little Froggy. And they were together wherever they were in a little bowl, and wherever they were together. At the top of the bowl, the bottom of the bowl, Froggy and Bobby Ray, best friends. And Froggy died. Bobby Ray was depressed. He laid in the corner of the bowl, and he was like limp. His fins were all just laying there. I just shake the bowl to see if he was still alive, because he just lay there and he'd swim around for a little bit and then go back to his corner. He was super depressed. I ended up getting him a new tank, and then when I put him in his big new beautiful 5-gallon tank, he was happy again. Spread his fins, swam like a champ, puffed out like a king. But boy, I saw the difference when Froggy died. He was depressed. Anyway, fish have feelings. So I'm pulling the fish out. So I'm in a little bit of a quandary about the fishing. So what's my answer is I catch and release. We kept a few fish to eat the first day, but you can only eat so many fish. Then I catch and release. In fact, I even squished down the barb on my hook so that I didn't want to hurt their mouths when they catch them, because you pull the hook out and send them back out and, hopefully live to swim another day. So I pulled the barb out. That meant you lost a couple fish you might have hooked on the pulling them in, because the hook slipped out of their mouth. But I was going to let them go anyway. Anyway, that's a little bit of my quandary, is the fish have feelings. I enjoy the fishing process, but I worry about the fish. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. All right, let's have some pictures. Let's see. Okay, we're going to share my screen. Share. Okay, here we go. But you don't want to see that. You want to see here. I'm not sure what pictures we're going to see here. I'm not sure how this is. Let me know in the comments if this is worth it, if you can see anything here. This is a picture of the fire. Oh, the fires. So if you follow here in California, Northern California has been devastated by fires for the last couple of years. We were supposed to go to this resort last year. We went 2 years ago. We were supposed to go last year, and our vacation got canceled because of the forest fires. And so driving through, this is a video of some of the devastation of the up close and personalness that we got to see of the fires. And it was quite overwhelming. There's a palatable sadness in the air as you're looking at fields with trees that are hundreds of years old. And the crews out there are working really hard, because now they have to come through a year later. They're still working to cut down all the burned out trees. And so where you used to look out at a beautiful forest of like I said, 100-year-old trees, now you're going to look at a meadow of stumps. And for 50 years, we're going to have nothing while these forests try to regrow. Anyway, it was a quite overwhelming feeling to get this firsthand look and to be in the midst of the fire. And I tried to capture it on this film, as you can see, just from the truck as we drove. Oh, there's my foot. You can just see the fire. You can just see the trees burned out. It was so sad. So sad. That was our little cabin, our little truck in front of the cabin. Oh, this is us at the little restaurant. More burned out stuff. What did I do there? Okay, this is just the views of us out hiking. I'm just going to show some pictures for a minute of us. Oh, I don't know why that's happening. Let's go to the top of the picture chain and see what happens. Okay, this is going to be later in the story when I talk about getting caught in a snowstorm. I know, right? It was crazy. Okay, snow. That's how much snow. We left the cabin. There was a little tiny bit of snow flurry coming down, and that's what we ended up with. I don't know why this keeps looking up. These are the hot springs. Hiked up to the mountains, and these are the natural hot springs that you can. Okay, I'm not sure why this is not as good as a plan as I thought it was going to be, as far as showing pictures. Oh, this is a picture of the man with his fish. So 2 years ago, we were at this place, and Richard caught a 23-inch, I don't even know how many pounds it weighed, German brown trout. And it was an epic event. This was a fish. We were there at the end of the summer. We were there in late September after the summertime. This was a fish that had been talked about all summer. Everyone tried to catch this fish. All the fishermen came in. They all knew there was a big fish down there, and they wanted to catch it. Everybody knew this fish. We got there. We didn't know anything about it. Richard threw his line in and pulls on this fish, and he's like, man, this is a big one. Well, this battle went on for almost 30 minutes, him and this big fish. And he kept saying, this fish has been caught before. This fish knows all the tricks. He had 2-pound test, which is a line for very small fish. So it took him a long time to finesse this fish in. And finally, he caught it. And I'm just going to say it was such an epic battle just to see the old fisherman who'd caught thousands of fish in his life and knew all the tricks, and the old fish who'd been outsmarting the fisherman all summer, and the two of them head to head battling it back and forth, that when he finally pulled this old warrior out of the water, it brought tears to my eyes, and I cried because it was an epic moment of battle, of sportsmanship, of life and death. Anyway, we brought the big fish in to show it off at the general store, and Richard was ready to fillet it. He wanted to have tacos, right? And he was ready to fillet it for tacos. And Jeff, the owner of the store, said, "Could we have that fish? We'd like to mount it and display it here at the resort." Because all the other fish we have, they had fish mounted all over the place, but all those fish had been caught in the big lakes surrounding the resort. This one was caught at the resort. So we were so excited when we got there, and they had the fish stuffed. And there's Richard with his fish, stuffed fish that he caught. So he was kind of the king shit for the weekend or for the week, right? Because everybody knew he was the guy who caught the fish. We all talked about it. That's us at the restaurant. And that seems to end the pictures for whatever reason. The lake. This is us, I believe, at Ward Lake. It's a tiny little lake where we fished off a rock. Now this, Edison Lake. They drained the lake. We thought we were going to rent a boat and go fishing. And this is what we found. This is the lake bottom. You're looking at the lake bottom. It was amazing. Oh, no, I don't know how I did this. Look at me, artsy and black and white. I'm not even sure how I did that. Not sure why the pictures don't want to keep going. Anyway, this is just kind of our views. Just kind of the views of the mountain everywhere we went. This is what we were looking at. The hot springs. We saw that. Oh, the snowstorm. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. Let's go the other way. Maybe see if that's the problem. Ward Lake. Us at the restaurant. We saw some of these. This is us driving through the devastation. Oh my God, we've seen these pictures already. I want to see some new pictures. That's Richard sitting under the fish as it's mounted in the little restaurant. That's the fish. The fish. He should have a name. Those were the fishermen that we told the story to sitting there, and they wanted to be in the picture with the fish because they were so impressed with the story. Any boat we would go on, he would always get the big fish. He always caught the biggest at the Lake Irvine. He would catch a fish when no one was catching any. Oh my gosh, Debbie. We walked down there. He pulled 10 fish out of somewhere between 7 and 10 fish out of the stream one morning. I stayed in the cabin. He walked down, fished the stream, came back. He started some people and like, "Oh, we've been fishing for 3 days. We haven't caught anything. Did you catch any?" He's like, "Oh, I caught a few." He couldn't tell him the first morning he got there. He pulled 7 out. He is the best fisherman that there is. And he gets embarrassed when I brag about him to other people, but it's the truth. So these guys were so impressed with the story. These guys sitting here in the picture, so impressed with the story of him and the fish, they wanted to be in the picture with him. So it was so fun. He was fun. He was kind of the BMOC. Oh, these are some of the fish we caught in the sink in our little cabin, right? Trout, mostly rainbow, a little bit of brown German. I even caught one called a cutthroat. I personally caught 3 17-inch fish one day, 2 17 and 18 inchers, a brown, German brown, a rainbow, and a cutthroat. I think the cutthroat was, one of them was 18-inch. I think it was the German brown, and caught more fish than Richard that day. It was my best day of fishing ever. Here he is with his fish. Well, this is just the little cabins, just to show you what our cabin looked like. Like I said, the lap of luxury, frankly, compared to camping, we like had top shelf accommodations. That's the little general store. Well, here we're out walking one day, and there's these little outhouses. Oh, I want to see the outhouses. Oh man. Oh, that's us in the hot tub. What's that called? That was called Pava Kaba. That was the name of it. Those are the hot tubs. You actually get down and sit in those. Yep, it's just a hole in the ground, but the water's hot. There he is with the dogs. Anyway, that's a pretty good. I think we've seen all the good pictures. Oh wait, I did want to show the outhouses. I'm going to use the other way. That's my little dog, Honey, fishing with us. Here we are at Edison Lake. All the water was drained out of the lake. So we actually drove the car down the ramp, down to the bottom of the lake, right up next to it, and fished our asses off. We were the only ones there. We pulled fish out. Of course, all the fish were caught in a little pond in the bottom, right? It's a great big lake. All the fish were caught in a little pond in the bottom. But hey, it was fun. Oh, I caught that one. And then we let it go. No, anyway, that's enough of the pictures. You've gotten a good idea of what this vacation looked like. Okay, so just to finish the story, one day I had a little fall. I took the dogs out. We had a little backyard behind our cabin, so I could take the dogs out in the morning without actually having to go down to the street. Dogs bark. They don't like other people. Anyways, I was coming, I slipped on some pine needles and I fell. If you saw the cabin, you saw it was made of stone. And I fell and smacked my face right against the stone wall of the cabin. In fact, I fell and slid. And somewhere in these pictures, I'll find the picture if I can, is me with a big old scar on my face. You could see it in one picture. I don't know where the pictures are now, but anyway, there is a picture. There's my picture. You can't really see it. I look pretty good by this day. Before then, it was red, and I looked good up until this day. I thought I had a better picture of my injury. Anyway, walked around with a big red scar on my nose, my forehead. Stunned. I hit my head so hard I just sat on the ground like stunned for a minute. And we had already planned that day to kind of lay low. We'd been going and doing every day. So I truly took it easy that day. Nothing wrong with me. I didn't get a scar. I was so lucky. I could have fallen on a jagged rock and gashed my head open. As hard as I hit, I thought there was going to be more damage, and all it was a scrape. So as everything that happened to us bad these 3 weeks, I'm going to say could have been worse. Everything that happened could have been worse. So stunned and scarred and fell on my face. And then there was the fire. The sadness of the fire. And I wanted to show a picture. I don't know if I can find it. Oh, here's some pictures. Well, let's go back to sharing, shall we? Because I have found some pictures. The bottom of the lake. This is the bottom of the lake. Oh, man. I am so bad at this. Oh, there's the outhouse. I did say I wanted to show you an old outhouse. Anyway. Debbie, thanks for putting up with me. I'm just kind of rambling right now. Anyway, devastation. We saw the devastation and the sadness, the 100-year-old trees. So then let's talk about the day we were leaving. We woke up the day it was leaving. We had 2 weeks of beautiful, I'm going to tell you, a beautiful time. It was quiet and peaceful, and we fished and we played cards and we went to bed early and we listened, or we lived in the silence and the stillness of nature, in the sound of the birds and the running waters. And our big excitement was throwing some peanuts out for the blue jays in the morning and watching them swoop down and take them away, and to fish, sit at the riverside, and just to sit at the river at the side of the water and throw the fish in and throw it in and just sit and wait. You just couldn't have asked for a nicer, more beautiful, more beautiful time. And then we left. So we get up in the morning to go, and it's raining. Crap, we're packing our car in the rain, but we've had a beautiful time. Everybody, we're just going to be troopers about it. So we put our hoods up and we loaded the car, and the rain turned to sleet, and then it turned to a little tiny bit of hail, and then it turned to snow. And we thought, oh, this is going to be no big deal. And as we left, there were tiny flakes, and I said, now we're getting ready to drive on roads. Okay, we didn't talk about the road. The road up there is a 1-lane rock road with lots of holes, a lot of troubles. One lane. Someone's coming the opposite direction. There are little turnoffs where you have to turn so the other guy can pass you on this road. Some of these roads, you're literally looking down the side of the mountain. You are on a tiny cliff, or you're coming up over, and you can't even see if you're going to go around a curve or go down or whatever's going to happen at the bottom. I drove it 2 years ago myself. Richard drove it this time, but it was terrifying. It's a terrifying road to drive. And as we were leaving, it was snowing. And I was saying to him, this is really scary. And he says, don't worry, we're just going to take it slow. Now, to be honest, there are signs everywhere that say chains are required. You must have chains. Please have chains. Year-round chains. We didn't have chains. It was September. It's not going to snow in September. We're going to be fine. But sadly, it did snow on the last day. And I am going to share this with you because, it's amazing. This is what our ride looked like. This is what so 30 minutes into our drive, this is what the snow is now looking like. This is literally 30 minutes. We left the camp. It was just starting to flurry. And all of a sudden, this is what we got. And we got no chains. And we're on these slippery, slidey, uppy, downy, treacherous, terrifying roads. Terrifying when the sun is shining and it's dry everywhere. And now we're driving them in snow where you cannot see the road. You cannot see where you're going. There's no way to turn around. The road is one lane. So there's literally, once you get into this mess, there was no way to turn around. We kept slipping and sliding on the edges. You can see some of the edges are straight down. And then we hit a big, slidey ice patch in the back of the car. Fishtailed around until we slid off the road. I want to see if I can find where I slid, the picture where I slid off the road. Maybe not. Might be down this end. Oh, I'm going to change subject for a minute. This is what the sun looked like from the smoke in the sky. The smoke was so thick, there were days when all you could see was a tiny glow in the sky. No stars. Forget, you thought we were going to go there and do some epic star watching. No stars. Smoke everywhere. We almost left a couple times because the smoke from the Sierra fire, what they call it, some other fire, which was about 50 miles south of us, just filled the sky with smoke so badly. You can see smoke. Oh, here we are. Here is our car stuck in the snowbank. And I didn't get a good picture of this because, frankly, I was a little distracted because the truck was like this. And what you can't see is that we're sitting. Oh, that car definitely slid more this way. It was like this. I'm kind of like, we hit a tree. There's a tree stopped us from rolling down, from going sliding any further down than you see in the picture here. And when we got out of, and then that ankle doesn't really appreciate, because when I opened the door, you dropped out of the passenger door. It was almost like this. You just almost, well, maybe probably not. I'm exaggerating because it was terrifying. But the truth is, opening the door and dropping out, things were falling out. We were afraid to stand under the truck because we were afraid it was going to continue to fall. But like I said, there was just this one little, thank God for this one little tree that kept us from rolling down the mountain, which was my biggest fear, was that we would fall and we would end over and down the mountain. And we would have, except for this tiny tree. So the tiny tree helped us to not go any farther than that. So that was the beginning of the end of the journey, right? Because our car was stranded. We couldn't sit in the car because we were afraid it was going to go down the mountain. So we decided we were going to walk. And it was a shorter trip back to the hot springs than it was to get out of town. So we started walking, and we walked about an hour and a half in the snow in canvas shoes, 2 little dogs, everything we had that we could get our hands on in the car, unpacked on our bodies. And we walked until some very nice people picked us up and said, no way you're going to walk back there. You're coming with us. And talked some sense into us because, survival training is stay with your vehicle. Anyway, took us down to Shaver Lake. where we got a tow truck, but they couldn't get up into the Kaiser Pass because it was snowed in. And so we had to get a hotel room, stayed the first night, no problem. Delightful little place called the Bear Den in the Village Shaver Hotel. Shout out to the Village Shaver Hotel who took awesome care of us. Second night, still didn't get the car out, too cold. We can't pull the car out. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow. By now it's Sunday. Remember, we left on a Friday. Or Saturday night, I guess. So we had to spend the night at someplace else. And the only room in town was a lodge 15 miles up the mountain, near nothing, near no food, no services, no nothing. Okay, we stopped and got a hamburger to take up with us, right? Went up the hill, got a ride. The towing company was nice enough to give us a ride to the new lodge, got up there. It's fantastic. We have again, I don't want to complain. I got a warm room. I got a big bed. We're going to be okay. It's just annoying. We can't get our car. We're anxious to get home. And then the power went out. And so we spent the night without power. Well, part of the night. It did come back on in the middle of the night. I'm going to say we were so lucky. We had a wood burning fireplace in our room. Oh, by the way, I say we were one of only 3 guests who stayed at the hotel without power because we couldn't leave. We didn't have a car. We had no place to go. So I went out and scrounged up firewood. I scrounged a candle. We didn't have a flashlight with us. We knew we didn't have any power. It was getting to be dark. We knew there wasn't going to be any power. They were working on the generator. They had just switched over from their generator system that was working to the new system. And it was during this experimental time that we were there where they were finding out the new generators couldn't handle the load. And so we were without power all night. Now, again, how lucky are we? Because we could have been, sleeping in our car because it was stuck on the mountain, but we could have been on the side of the road. We didn't have any place to stay, so we were happy for a place to stay. These are none of these complaints. And so with that, I'm going to end this very long vacation recount and say a couple things. First of all, I want to say thank you to the very, very nice people who helped us. You think, you watch the news, we think the world is full of crooks and jerks. And the truth is most people out there are really nice people. And we were so lucky to be helped by some really nice people. And I'm going to read their names right now just because I'm going to show you. Here, let's get rid of this. You've seen the devastation here on the mountain. Back to straight. Remove this. Okay. All right. So here I want to show you my napkin. I bring my paper plate. We were in this hotel room or this lodge with literally nothing. Not a deck of cards between us, not a piece of paper to write on, nothing to read, nothing. Anyway, I had a paper plate, so I started writing down the people I wanted to remember to thank. And so I'm grateful to Jason and Marissa in their red F-150 truck who stopped and picked us up on the road and drove us all the way to Shaver Lake. I want to thank Sarah, Dawn, and Frank at the Shaver Lake Village Hotel who went out of their way to get us in early, get us a ride, take good care of us when they knew we were stranded. I want to thank Nathan and Jennifer at Eagle Towing, again, who bent over backwards to help us and get our truck out and bring it up to us up the mountain and help get us on our way. I'm going to thank my Amazon Kindle, the one form of entertainment we did have were the books I had downloaded on my Kindle. And so we spent part of the night, I read aloud. That's how desperate we were for entertainment, was I read aloud from my Amazon Kindle. I want to thank Oscar, Feather Not Dot, my friend Oscar Notamar, who just gave me just a moment of cheerful, fun laughter in the midst of some stressful and concerning times. And then I forgot, from back at the Mono Hot Springs, I want to thank Noah, Joe, Hannah, Justin, and Peter, who made our stay there so special and took care of us like we were guests in their home. So, in the end of the day, when life doesn't go your way and you're stuck and you have to rely on the kindness of strangers, it's so heartwarming. It's so humbling. I'm so grateful to know that there are people out there willing to stick their neck out for a stranger and see someone in trouble and do everything they can to help them with nothing expected in return. And anyway, I'm collecting names and addresses to send out my thank you gifts and my thank you cards for all the people who helped us during a really difficult time. So that was our vacation. 2 weeks of what you could say, just 2 weeks of heaven, 2 weeks of splendor, 2 weeks of just stunning nature, and then a couple of days of uncertainty. We were never in danger. Here's the thing. Other than that moment when we were sitting in the truck like this on the mountain, and that was pretty scary, we were really never in danger. People around us took care of us. We were warm. I say we were up there with no food. That's not true. I had leftover garlic knots and some beef jerky, right? What else do you need? Nobody went hungry. I had coffee without creamer. Hardship. We had a fireplace, and when the fire went out, the power came back on and made us warm. The worst thing that happened to us is we were left bored for a little while. We were left uncertain as to when things were going to reconcile and when we were going to get home. But, then it happened. Then they called and said, the truck is out. It's on its way. And we got in the truck and we drove home. Never been so happy to sleep in my own bed at night. So, I'm going to say, as always, everything could have been worse. We had the adventure of a lifetime. We had the experiences and fun. I got to be away from home and everything. Just when you think all the things in your life, there's so much of everything and you just need that break. We had that break. 2 weeks of going away and living a different life. There's nothing like that makes you come back and appreciate all the beauty and comfort and security and familiarity of home base, of being home. So I will end this very long broadcast by saying vacation, again, scores high on the happiness factor. We love to go on vacation. And yet I'm going to say, I love to go on vacation, and yet I love coming home. We may or may not go back to the mountain. We've had discussions of maybe we'll just go to Big Bear next time, which is just a couple hours away from home, not 7 hours away from home, and not quite so high. We were up 9,000 feet elevation. I mean, we were at the top of the mountain. So 9,000 feet elevation. So maybe we'll go back to the mountains. But the benefits of unplugging for 2 weeks. I was absent. I didn't even look at Facebook. I didn't look at my email. I barely texted with my daughters to make sure that they were taking care of mom and the house back at home. Barely texted with them just to stay in touch and make sure. I made it a point to unplug and not be in communication, right? I made it a point to not be in communication, to step away from life for 2 full weeks. So many benefits of unplugging. So many benefits. And I come home now and the TVs are off. I don't even really want them on around me, right? We've been busy and active since we get back. Hopefully we'll walk the dogs more. We'll do more. We'll play more cards and we'll watch less TV after this experience. But the bottom line is, so glad to be home. So glad to be appreciating all the things in my life. And now even the normal everyday things that I was kind of getting tired of now seem exciting and fun again. So refreshed, renewed, rejoiced, returned. That's what I'll say. Thank you for watching. So happy to be back on Brewing Happiness. We get back to our regular programming tomorrow. I don't have a clue as to what the topic's going to be yet, but that's just kind of how I operate in the meantime. Anyway, so happy to be back. Thank you for listening. It was such an adventure that I got stories. that are going to stand me in good stead forever. Anyway. It's been delightful this morning talking about it with you, sharing a cup of coffee, brewing a little happiness to start your day. Until tomorrow, make it a happy day.